Renegade Online.
You can see Zootopia 2 is already posted just from last night, yesterday, Tuesday on the preview day, $10 million, over $10 million, which is a very, very strong start for an animated feature like this. Middle of the week, right? It's not even a Thursday, but it is a holiday Tuesday for most of these kids. So I think this is going to continue to do very well. Remember, this is going to have not a 3-day opening, but a 5-day opening. So when we look at Zootopia 2, you look at 5-day openings, you have to look at other things that are comparable. So you think of, what was it that came out for Disney November of last year? It was Mufasa? No, Mufasa was Christmas. Yeah, Moana 2 came out, I think, Thanksgiving of last year. So we'll be looking to compare how that shakes up as the days go on. But as it stands right now, it's a relatively good start here. But Zootopia 2 hops to a record-breaking start in China. $34 million in China alone. And this is from Nancy Tartaglione. Chinese box office, right? It looks good on the top line, but it ain't so good when it comes back to what is returned to studios. It's a very small portion. 20 to 25% is what's going to wind up making it back from this Chinese box office. But a $34 million opening debut for Zootopia. This was a big hit. The first one, I believe, was a big hit in China as well. The audience score in China is a fantastic 9.7, with the critical ranking on Douban at 8.7. Comparatively, in Maoyan scores, Zootopia had a 9.5, the first one. Inside Out was a 9.1. Moana was a 9.2. So this apparently, in China, has outscored all the most popular animated things from Disney that released in China previously. Strong start for the film, no question. And like I said, as we predicted earlier this year, Zootopia 2 was going to be, I said unequivocally, it was going to be one of the 2 big hits for Disney of the year. Everything else was going to be questionable to absolute disaster. The question is, are they going to have anything else? So far, the answer is no. And again, Avatar, you got that little caveat in there because it's not really Disney core, and a lot of that money goes back to James Cameron, right, as opposed to Disney. Not to mention then Disney, in some form or fashion, however they work the deal with their distribution expenses that they have taken on since buying Fox for Avatar, they also have to pay licensing rights somewhere in there. Deadline magazine is suggesting that the 5-day open, okay, for Zootopia 2 is going to be 140. Wicked for Good enchanting $90 million. Now, if Wicked pulls off $90 million, I don't know if they mean that in a 3-day, because I don't know how are we really going to count that as a 5-day, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday for Wicked as well? That wouldn't make as much sense. But let's read into it and see what the tea leaves are telling us here from the gurus at Deadline. Wednesday afternoon update, so that's today, just before we started the show. Disney will continue to own 9 of the top 10 5-day box office openings. Zootopia 2 is set to do around $140 million from Wednesday to Sunday at 4,000 screens. So $140 million 5-day. 5-day. Always take projection this far out with a grain of salt, as a lot comes down to Black Friday and Saturday. Already with an estimated $39 million Wednesday, including yesterday's $10.2 million preview. So there we go. We're already just shy of $40 million through the end of today, which of course is still an estimate because it's still playing right now. That would amount to a $39 million opening Friday with Thursday previews on a typical 3-day Friday, Saturday, Sunday opening. Zootopia 2 owns the second best Wednesday opening for Thanksgiving after last year's Moana 2 for $57 million. So $57.8 million for Moana 2, $39 million for Zootopia 2. Now, a lot of people would look at that and say that's a big gap. And you'd be right, but again, I suspect the overperformance for Zootopia is going to take place, I believe, in the international markets. The Friday to Sunday for the animated sequel is looking between 88 and 90 million. So 88 to 90 million on the 3-day Friday, Saturday, Sunday for Zootopia, 140 million for the 5-day, right? Thanksgiving Day You usually don't see a swell at the box office because families are doing family stuff. It's not as bad as, say, Christmas Eve. Christmas Eve is typically an atrocious day by comparison at the theaters because that's when the bulk of the family activity, especially in America and Christian, predominantly Christian countries, that's where it's going to happen. Christmas Day, however, is usually pretty darn good at the box office because that's when families are still doing family stuff, but they're doing let's go chill out stuff, right? A lot of them maybe went to Mass early in the morning if they didn't go to Vigil Mass the night before. If they're Catholic, a lot of families get together on Christmas Eve and then they open presents on Christmas morning, and then they go see a movie or they go do something, just kind of casual together, as opposed to some formal family gathering. So this is why Christmas is usually pretty good. Thanksgiving, on the other hand, usually is a little bit more like Christmas Eve than Christmas Day. It's kind of in the middle, but we'll see how this shakes out. Now, Wicked for Good. Disney has premium large format screens for Zootopia 2, but they're sharing IMAX with Wicked. Okay, that's exactly what I was thinking was going to be the case, is that there was going to be sharing. But I told you that what's likely to happen is that Zootopia is going to get the big screens during the day when the younger audiences typically go to these films with cheaper ticket prices, okay? So $17, $18 for a premium screen after 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon versus maybe $13 for the same screen if you go at 1, 2, 3 p.m. in the afternoon. And the kids' tickets are cheaper in addition. Wicked for Good. Now, they're saying Disney has premium large format screens for Zootopia 2. I don't know if that means, does that mean that that Wicked is going to lose all the PLFs that are not IMAX branded? That would be frankly shocking to me. I think we're going to see something similar. I think we're going to see a number of early daytime performances that will easily go to Zootopia 2 because it's the perfect audience for that. And the afternoon and evening performances, I would hope and should probably skew more towards Wicked for Good, or at least be split. That would make the most sense. Wicked is shaping up. Wednesday right now is figured at 17 million. Okay, I did see 17 million. So 17 million today for Wicked 2 versus last year's 20 million on its first Wednesday. Wicked's Thanksgiving last year dipped 17% for 16 points. See, there you go, the Thanksgiving effect. A rando Wednesday, the day before Thanksgiving, beats Thanksgiving Day. Not a surprise, right? The 3-day on the John 2 directed part 2 is at 60 million, down 59%, with a 5-day of 90 million and a running total by Sunday of 267. Okay, so there's our numbers for Wicked 2. They're expecting 90 million on a 5-day, which is still, frankly, very, very strong for this film. And especially when you consider the budget wasn't terribly outrageous. I mean, these two films, or this whole film, was shot basically concurrently. But when you look at, 60 million in its second weekend, a drop of 59%, that is a little steep. But the issue I have is that if Deadline is correct, what that means is that the 59% drop, probably a good 8, if not 10% of that drop is going to be due to the fact that they have lost PLFs. If they completely lose PLFs to Zootopia 2, that's punishing. That's very in the second weekend. Now, you get to weekend 3, weekend 4, yeah, you expect that kind of stuff. Weekend 2 on a movie that's this big and this hot, and it is for the intended audience. And look, if I'm a theater owner and operator, I'm going to try to find a very, very happy marriage of splitting up my premium large format in a way that suits the demographic of each film. Unless Disney has said we want it all, I don't know. We'll find out more this weekend. Make sure you're subscribed to Valiant Renegade and join us every Sunday at 6 p.m. Eastern for the live show.